Thank you so much for joining me here in my office today. My name is Karen Watson. This is the second in a series of shorter videos that I'm creating for you, walking you through the steps of using Forever Historian software. I love this program. It is amazing for being able to enhance my photos, making them look the best they possibly can. But ultimately, I'm able to find things very, very easily. And I want that for you as well. Because this is a series and this is the second video, I need to remind you, I do have a first video. If you haven't already watched that, I'd encourage you to do that first. In that one, I'm talking to you about how to take the chaos and bring it into some semblance of order. Most people, I find, have their photos all over their computer hard drive. They're on CDs, DVDs, flash drives, you name it, external hard drives. You want to be able to bring all of that into one place. So that's your very first step. Obviously, installing the program is first, then the one next would be getting everything into it. In this video, I want to talk to you about let's organize it. If you want to be able to find me quickly and easily, I'd encourage you to hit the subscribe button. Because this is a series, you want to hit that little bell as well, because that's going to tell YouTube you want to be notified when I have a new video. That way you don't miss anything. There's a variety of reasons why we want to be organized. One, it makes life a little bit more peaceful, right? If you're working on traditional photo albums, say with Creative Memories, or you're creating photo books that you're printing through forever, you want to be able to find your photos, right? That's obviously very, very important. But there's some other things you might not have thought about. There's a lot of times where I have moms coming to me in a panic. I have to find photographs of my child for this school project they told me at the last minute. Of course, here's the stress level going up already, right? But you might be throwing a big party for somebody who's turning a big number for a birthday, or you're throwing an anniversary party, and you need to find photos so you can make posters for those different times and decades in their lives. And again, you're in a stressful situation. It's a party. There's a lot of things involved with throwing a party, right? But the worst case scenario is a death in the family. And you're already dealing with a lot of emotion. And typically there's not that much time between the death and the memorial service. So you don't want to be laboring over finding photographs during that really, really difficult time. So being able to get your hands on the images really quickly and easily, to make posters, to make videos, to do whatever you need your images for, you want to be able to find them quickly and easily. And then in future videos, I'm going to talk to you about enhancing your photos and some of the other tools that you have at your fingertips. So let's go to my computer and let's get started. Now that we have all of our pictures in Historian, it's time to start getting organized. Organization, I have noticed over the years, is something that's very subjective. It's personal. So you have to figure out how you would look for something and then organize in a fashion that makes sense to you. So know yourself. If too many steps overwhelm you, then keep this super duper simple. If you tend to be a little bit more detail oriented like I am, feel free to employ all of the bells and whistles like I do. Jump on those and make them work for you. But again, implement what works for you. If too many steps are overwhelming, keep it simple. I'm going to show you how I think you figure out from what you see from me how it might work differently or better for you. So again, I've opened the program. We're in the welcome screen. Remember, I kept adding photos, so now I'm up to 87. I had 71 when we started. I'm going to click on My Media Library, and here are my photos. So you can see down here, all 87 are showing. First, I want to show you some of the things that I've already tagged and how they work. That way you can start thinking about how you might tag things in your own account. So I opened up this one right here. This is a file folder, and underneath it are names of people. So this is family. So my husband is Larry, I'm Karen, these are my parents, these are his parents, and his 3 sisters. So if I want to click on just a tag, I'll click on that, and that's going to bring up 45 items. These are 45 photographs that I have labeled Larry. So he shows up somewhere in this photograph significantly enough. If he's way, way, way in the background at a party, I probably wouldn't tag him. But 45 items for him. If I click on me, there's 41. What I love about this program is the way that you can cross-reference. So if I click on Larry and then I hover over Karen, there's a little drop-down menu right here. I click on that and I want to display items having both this tag and those now displayed. So what's now displayed is Larry. I clicked on that first. Now I want it to show me, I want it to narrow it down to, of those 45 images, how many of them also are tagged with Karen? And that brought it down to 36. So you see I have a number of things in here. Now let's say I also want to know, where does my mother-in-law show up? Or it could be one of his sisters, but I'll click on my mother-in-law. So you notice this is grayed out. So Larry and Karen are both tagged in 36 photos. Now, if I do the hover over that drop down menu and say display items both with this tag and those now displayed, it narrows it down to one item. In fact, I could go even further because this is my mother. So I could say Gladys, and now all 4 tags. So this is a meal that the 4 of us showed up in that image. It's a great way of finding things. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll click on myself and I want to find a picture with me and my mother and search through them and put that in my book if I'm working on something. Same thing with Larry. A lot of times I'm trying to find a picture with him and all 3 of his sisters. So there's 3 items where all 4 siblings show up. In this one, you also have their parents. So family is one way to tag things. Pets. I separate celebrations and holidays. So to me, an anniversary, obviously that's not a holiday. Same thing with birthdays, graduations. Valentine's Day, you might put it under holidays if that's the way you think. To me, it's just a celebration. It's not a actual holiday. We don't get it off of work. It's not a, nationwide, everybody celebrate type of thing, like maybe, I don't know, Christmas or New Year's or something. So I have that separate from holidays, which in this case, I only have Christmas so far. If I want to add an extra tag, I'm here on holidays. I hover over it. The drop-down menu pops up. I want to create a tag and I'm going to say Easter. Add it. It does not put it in alphabetical order. If you want to move things around, you just grab it and pull it up. And I can organize one thing higher than another. So you notice here it is pretty, yep, that's in alphabetical order, but I did that manually. Same thing with Dora and Wesley. Those are my cats. I take a lot of pictures now that we've moved to the south. I've got lots of pictures of winter, spring, summer, autumn, vacations. So you can, go up here. So my media library, drop down menu. Nope, not that one, my categories. Drop down menu. I want to create a category. A category is basically a file folder. So I'm going to say genealogy. It's going to be under my categories. So I can have a file folder underneath family if I want to have it just Larry's family or my family, but I don't want to go that deep. I don't think that's necessary. This puts it at the very end. Maybe I want this to come up above seasons, but below holidays. So as you're tagging things, you're going to find that there's certain things you tag more often than others. So that's why I like having family at the top, pets next, because I take a lot of pictures of my cats, I know, but celebrations, holidays, genealogy might come before seasons and vacations. Again, it really depends on you. I like having things towards the top that I use the most. So another thing that I can do is I can click on my husband and I want to have a picture of him at Christmas. So it's the same sort of format. You've got there, the program itself does not differentiate that this is an event as opposed to a person. It's a tag and a tag and a tag. No matter how you look at it, in Historian, it's a tag. So you can cross-reference holidays, you can cross-reference with people, however you organize things. So another thing that you can do is look at your timeline. So I clicked on me, and on my timeline, you can see it's 1937. I've imported some photos that are a lot older than that, and I have a lot that are newer than that. It just kind of puts it in the middle, I think. But I'm just going to grab it and pull it over And again, I've clicked on Karen. This shows I have a picture in 69. That's circa 1970. So it's going to show up in 69, 70, and 71. So because that's about 1970. So if it was actually dated 70 and nothing else, it would be in there. 1977, one picture with me in 1997, one in 1982. So that's another way to find things. So when I'm working in a book in Artisan, I will click on the year that I'm working on and start going through photos that way. And then I narrow it down. I take a look, there's a party. I will click on that party and go through those photographs and pick the ones that I want and import them into my Artisan book that I'm working on. So the date is very helpful. Remember, hover over this, media and all takes you back to everything. I'm still clicked on Karen, so that's why it only says 43. If I click on my categories, that's everything. So now I'm up to 70. I didn't go all the way to the top. My media library, that's where I wanted to be. Now I'm up to 87, so that makes more sense. All right, now, as far as naming things, remember this is a generic demo cabinet that I'm working out of. I do genealogy, so I have found it easier to use first, middle, and last name, and for women, their maiden name. So no matter how many times they're married, I leave it at their maiden name because it makes it easier for me to find them. Again, that's privacy stuff that it's not my place to say what my in-laws' middle names are. So we have multiple John Sudlows in the family. We have multiple John Geyers. There's 2 Larrys. My husband was named for both of his grandfathers. So because it's his maternal grandfather, I could just say Larry West and Larry Watson. But I go ahead and I put the full name in there. When I upload from Historian to my Forever account, all of my tags, all of the documentation that I put in here goes with it. So I found that it's really good to be consistent in whatever I do. That way on the other end, I don't have to delete things or rename things. So I try to make this pretty much the way that I want it to look in my permanent storage account. So if I click on a photograph, I can type in the name here. I've guesstimated the date and I've written in the story why I think that it was May or June. So it's not necessarily May 1st that I'm thinking of, but instead of saying circa May 1937, I just said May 1st, whatever. It really isn't that important. When I put this in a heritage book, it's going to be around that time frame. We know when he graduated. I don't have to have the precise date. This one again was circa. I wasn't sure at the time. This one I knew was Christmas. So I wrote a little note in here. So anything that I want to have in my permanent account later, especially if it's older, I'm asking my mother for details. I'm writing those details in here. So you can manually change the date just by clicking on this and writing in the date. Name it whatever you want. So I would have a bunch of photographs. Larry's going away party, ring shopping day. We went out to lunch with friends. So there would be a bunch of photographs to go with this. So I like to name the entire event the identical thing. That way, what I can do is click on search and I can say Larry's going away party. I spell better when no one's watching. Okay, and now it narrows it down to, in this case, we only have the one photo because this is a demo book, but I would have maybe 30 to 50 photographs in my regular account. And so now I narrow it down to all the pictures that are his going away party, and I can choose the photos from there to put in my photo album. When I'm done with that, I just X out and it takes me back to all 87 items. So these are just some food for thought in how you name things. Date things to the best of your ability. If you don't know, you might start asking older family members or siblings or whoever you think might be able to help you with some of those things. So how do you do this? My suggestion would be you get your photos in here first. That was our first step. That was our first video. Then you go to My Media Library and start with Not Tagged. So if this was your account, your program and you just started, you would have 87 items here, but I have a bunch of things tagged already. These are not tagged. So I'm going to click on this one. I already have the name in there. I already have, it was circa 1864. I have a little story about him and where I found it. I can right click on him and I get a menu that pops up, or I can hover over him and this drop down menu pops up. So either way, tag with, and I look around, I don't have a tag for this yet. So I'm going to say new tag, Jones family. Drop down menu, I want this under genealogy. So I'm putting it under genealogy right here. You notice there's no tags under there. I'm creating one right here and then okay. And then add. So now over here on the right-hand side, now he's with Jones family under the genealogy category. His mother, sibling, and father, and that's one of the siblings. These all go in the Jones family. So what I did is I held the control key and I highlighted all these pictures that I wanted. I can do the same thing where I can right click, have a drop down menu, tag with. I can hover over, let me highlight this again. I can hover over one of them and the drop down menu shows here. Or in this case, I can see it. It's right over here on my left-hand side. I can just drag and drop those in there. So you notice over here, I'm still highlighting these 4. Jones family right here shows the tags. Now they all have different stories. They all have different dates and different names. So that's why none of those are showing, because I'm highlighting all 4 of these. So now I'm going to go to click on this one and this one and this one. Now they're all the same man. I'm going to right click, tag with, and I'm going to create a new tag under my categories. I'm going to put this under genealogy and I'm going to say Sudlow family. Okay. And add. So now those 3 have the tag Sudlow family. And he actually connects with the Jones. He's married into the family. So I'm just going to drag him down to the Jones family. A lot of times that's what I do, is the dragging and dropping. And Uncle John does not have a tag. So tag, new tag under my categories, genealogy, Dyer family. Now, he is my uncle. I don't necessarily need to put him under genealogy. I would probably have him in a category under family. Again, you figure out what works for you and add. It does not matter how many tags one particular image has. You can have many, many tags. So when you're cross-referencing, that makes a big, big difference. This is my grandmother Sudlow's, Agnes Sudlow's, oops, high school yearbook. And I'll click save. That automatically puts it in there. Now, you notice it says 2012. Well, it's actually 1912. And maybe it was May, maybe it was June. I don't know when they graduated. Sometimes in New York, they graduated in December or January. So I'm just going to say this was in 1912. And I could just click on something else and then it'll come up. But when I did that, if I wanted to, I could click save and it'll automatically show it. So it does not have to be an exact day and month. Whoops, sorry, I'm getting a little squirrely. I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to drag this down and I'm just going to keep pulling it down until I get to Geyer. So same person as the one who graduated here. So I would just go through and systematically go through these and tag them. Now you might be wondering, I've tagged these, you saw me do it, so why are they still under here? It's a good thing that they don't disappear. The reason being, I might go back in here and want to tag this multiple other ways. So if I tagged it one time and then it disappeared, then I have to go find it again. So say there's our wedding and there's pictures with me in it, Larry, his family, my family. I want to tag all those individuals. So the fact that it stays on my screen means that I can tag it, tag it, tag it, tag it. And then when I'm done, Notice I've got 17 things that were in the not tagged category. That's where I'm at. You can also see here items that are not tagged with this tag, or with any tag, I mean. There's a little refresh button right here. So I have 17, I'm going to click that. Now I have 6. So I have 6 more to go. So even though I spent some time renaming these two, I didn't actually put a tag on it. So now I know that I can click on these two. I held the control key and I'm going to drag that down, and it's going to be in the Sudlow family because it's my grandmother's Sudlow's yearbook. So I just keep going and going and going. So hopefully that gives you some food for thought in how you might tag your images. And you can always go back and add more tags. You can always go back and rename things. I find sometimes when I'm organizing, I start out on one path and then I decide I want to change it a little bit. You can always go to a tag, the drop-down menu, and delete it. That will delete the tag itself. It's not going to delete all of the images. So if that was the only tag on these particular images, then what's going to happen is they'll all go under not tagged here. You can click on properties, and here is where you would change the name. It's located in family. Maybe I decided that I wanted to move it somewhere else. I can always do the drop-down menu and choose something different. But this shows you right now all the different images that this particular tag is attached to. So nothing is set in stone. So don't worry about this. I have some people ask me, can I break this? No, you're not going to break anything. If you want to delete an image, maybe you brought in a bunch of different duplication, you can right click, you can again hover and get that drop down menu, but you can delete from cabinet. And it's always going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? If I had 20 pictures and did not click on this, it would ask me over and over 20 different times. So if you know that absolutely, I want to get rid of all 20 photos at the same time, you've highlighted all 20, then you just click on that and that'll turn that off. You just click yes, and then boom, it'll delete all of them. And even then, it's not all gone. There is a trash bin. There is a way to go in and empty it. There is a way to go in and find it if, oops, I deleted something I didn't want to. Another thing that I like to do is rate them. So if you notice this one, I like this picture. It came out really good. For me, a 5-star rating means I would like to print this, whether it's I want to print this and put it in my Creative Memories scrapbook, or I want to print this in my Artisan photo book. That tells me Karen likes this one, 5 stars. If I like it, but I could do without it. If I have too many pictures, or if I don't have enough pictures, I'll delve into the 4 stars. But 3 generally means I don't want to print it, but I'm not going to delete it yet, just in case I need something from it. 2, I don't want it. 1, I should probably delete it. So when I'm going through trying to choose photos for my book, I would go over to ratings. I would highlight or narrow it down by event or highlight specific photos, however I want to do it. And typically speaking, what I would do is I would do a search for however I named an event. Then I have all of those on my screen. And then I would say, I want to find the photos that are 5 or higher. 5, of course, is the highest. So you're not going to get any higher than that. So I usually just leave it at the end higher. So there's 41 items. If I click reset and go back to blank, then there's 45. So really clicking on 5 in this particular group only brought it down to 41 items. If I want to know pictures under this particular tag that do not have stars, I would click off of those and I would say only. So now I've got 2 items that I have not gone through and actually rated. So whoops, there's not that many pictures of the 4 of them together. So I'm just going to go ahead and click 5 stars. This one I need to kind of compare to a few others. It's kind of dark, but then again, I might want it. So I'll just go ahead and click that as a 4-star. And I'm going to go ahead and reset. That'll take it back to all 45 items that are under Larry. Now I know that everything has been starred. So that's another layer. And then another layer on top of that is your print steps, which a lot of people don't even use this. I use it all the time. It really, really helps me. So if I click on items I need to print, remember I've clicked on the Larry tag. We're down to 45 items. I haven't printed any of these as far as this particular cabinet is aware. If I took these pictures and I put them in a book, I would go ahead and I would do the drop-down menu, or I can right-click either way, go to print, and I would say already printed. And again, nothing disappears, right? I hit the refresh button, those 3 disappear. Now I'm down to 42. So I would systematically go through an event, go through a month, a year, whatever, and I would pull out things and then click that it's printed. And if I see something and I'm like, I don't know if I want that one, maybe this one, I would just right-click it, print. I don't want to print. And it doesn't go away. Maybe I have a bunch of pictures of the 2 of us at that particular event, and I've decided to go with the other photos and not these. I would go to print status. I want the items I need to print. That made it go away. But maybe I'm thinking, you know, I think I want one more photo. Let's see if there's anything else. I can go over to items I need to print, drop down, items I don't want to print. Oh yeah, there's that one. You know, I think I might go ahead and do that. And then I would go ahead and change that to already printed because I just popped it over into Artisan. You want to be done with it. There's a little X right here, make that go away. And now we're back to all 45 items that are tagged with the name Larry. So again, I'm showing you the way that I do things, the way that I think. You find a way that works for you. If you don't want to be bothered with the print status, you don't want to be bothered with the starring, then don't do it. But I find it's a helpful tool for me if I'm sitting down and going through a party or a wedding or something like that, by spending the time initially making some decisions that I really like this, I really like that. It doesn't mean I'm going to print it. It means that I'm going to pull that up as one of the options when I go to put it in a book or when I go to get it printed into a hard copy of the photograph. So starring it is, I like this image. It's a good image. The coloring's good. The faces look good. I find it a helpful tool. And then I started using the print status. You don't have to bother with the print status when you're organizing your photos. It's an option. I will sometimes go through and say, I don't want to print this, I don't want to print that, even though it might be a really good photograph, I have chosen a different one. So you utilize what works for you. So thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate that you took the time to watch this video. I hope that it's been helpful as you think through how you want to organize your own images. I would encourage you to take this in smaller batches. They say, how do you eat an elephant? An elephant can be very daunting. It's very large. One bite at a time is the answer. So this is probably the most time-consuming part of anything you're going to do in Historian. It's getting them tagged initially. Once you start your system and you add more photos, then tag those when you first put them in or soon thereafter. And you'll keep up with it, and it will be a fabulous, fabulous tool for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Be sure to join me in my third video that is going to be about editing your images. So we'll make them look the very best that they can. I'll show you how to crop and a few other things. So have a great day, and I look forward to working with you again.